So what is yoga and what are the benefits of doing yoga? Let's think about where yoga came from. Yoga has come from the East, majorly in India. It's made its way to the West right now, and things have changed along the way. What we find with yoga are there are many, many variations of yoga. You may have heard of some of them. You may have heard of Vinyasa yoga. You may have heard of Ashtanga yoga, Hatha yoga, and there are many, many different variations out there. And that's one of the wonderful things about yoga, is that you could probably find a variation that suits you. And it's taken me a long time to find a variation of yoga that suits me, that I feel really comfortable with, and one that works for my club. Yoga, because it's come from the East, has got some positions that we might not necessarily be used to in the Western world. First of all, the thing that's different between us and people in the East is that we sit on chairs. And quite often in yoga, people sit on the floor, in the East, sit on the floor or copper squat. We need to think about how that does affect our bodies. And yoga is a practice. We practice and we always have somewhere to go. It is not a destination, but more a journey and how we get through there. For those of us that are Western, it can sometimes be quite difficult to get into some of the poses, and we need to accept that due to lifestyle and the way that we've grown up, our body doesn't always want to do all of the poses, but we have to adapt them to get us to where we need to go. For me personally, in my classes, I like to strip back all the poses that I'm going to use for the term back to their bare essentials. And I like to focus on the things that I think are most important for each pose. And then as time goes on, I like to offer you options to develop your poses and to develop your practice. One of the things that I've noticed with yoga for me personally is the element of the mind that comes into it. Nowadays we talk a lot about mental well-being, and yoga has been one of those things that has certainly begun to help me with my own mental well-being and has taught me how I can start to calm my mind. By focusing on the breathing and the poses, I've learned how to calm my mind by using relaxation and meditation, certainly in the classes that we have at Club K at the beginning and the end of the class. It's taught me how to bring the calm down into my mind and be able to help ease it. One thing that I don't think that we can do necessarily is have a blank mind. For most of us, we need to focus on one thing at a time. Sometimes sitting still or lying still and trying to calm the mind is one of the most difficult things that we can do. But meditation comes in many ways, and sometimes it could just be walking and listening to the sound. But I think for many of us, meditation is being in the moment. And for each one of us, that might be quite different. But one thing that I've learned with yoga, certainly in how I'm teaching it at Club K, is that the class, the relaxation or the meditation at the beginning, brings me into the space that I'm starting to work. It allows me to take some time to let go of what's happened during the day and prepare my mind and my body for what is coming ahead. In Club K, we use the sunshine yoga format. This is the one that works best for me, and it seems to work really well for my clients. We start with sunrise. We lie in what's generally called Savasana, lying on our back, allowing our body to become calm, letting go of the day that we've had and preparing for the class that's coming. We then move on to our morning section of the class. As the sun has risen and goes higher, so do we create more warmth in our bodies with a bit more flow, introducing a certain set of exercises in an order that I think is good for that term to get us going. After the morning phase, we then move on to the midday phase. this point we hold poses for much longer. And that creates more heat in our bodies. Much as the sun rises higher in the sky and warms our bodies, so do the poses. They become more challenging, they become harder, and they create more warmth within our bodies. From there we move on to the afternoon phase. The afternoon phase is starting to bring us down a little bit. The poses become less challenging and sometimes more stretchy, you might want to think of them. Feeling length through the muscles. And then finally we come to our sunset phase. Bringing a close to the day and a close to the class. Again, we find some moment for meditation and relaxation. We turn our attention internally into our body and notice how it feels. It might feel worked, it might feel stronger, it might feel longer from the class. Generally, I find that my mind is calmer after doing the class. And the way I build the class is over a term. We start with it stripped back in its most basic, and then each month we create more challenge to the poses. Now, like I said, yoga is a journey, not a destination. Some days we can conquer the world. Some days we can do every pose. We can take on every challenge. Some days we can't. The week previous might have been amazing and this week might not be so good. It might be the other way round. We take the journey as it is on that day. And if you feel that you want to take a journey into yoga with me, you could do it at club-k.online, where we have a number of classes there for you to try, or you could come and try them in club. For more information, have a look at our website.